Hello everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Destiny video. Today during an online stream, Fantasy Flight released a ton of new cards for Spark of Hope. Big thanks to the Star Wars Destiny subreddit for grabbing these images and posting them up there. There'll be a link in the description to where you can check out those Reddit posts. I'm going to go through the cards, going to let me know what I think about them, give my thoughts. So first up here we have Heroic Stand, Blue Hero Event, 2 resources. Play only if you control exactly one character, and an opponent has 3 or more dice showing damage. Ready a character. So you have one character left. Let's say you have enough. They maybe potentially one more activation on that character could maybe win you the game. You spend 2 resources as long as your opponent has 3 or more dice showing damage. You can do it. Ready the character, and then later in the round activate that character. As long as the damage that your opponent is showing isn't going to defeat your character, you may be able to get that character out and deal enough damage to win the game or mill them out or whatever your win condition might be. You also probably want to play this if you have some mitigation in hand as well. So maybe play this, roll out. Hopefully your opponent doesn't defeat your character. You can then mitigate their dice, resolve your own dice, and potentially win. I don't know if it's going to see play. I think it's very situational because you have to have exactly one character. You have to have these at least 3 or more damage dice in your opponent's pool, and then it's going to cost 2 resources as well. So I think it's pretty situational. I don't think it's going to see play, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So that is Heroic Stand. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Jedi Mind-Trick, 2 resources, Blue Hero Event. Spot a Jedi to choose a dice pool. An opponent splits the dice pool into 2 groups of any size. Either remove all dice in a group or turn any number of dice in a group to sides of your choice. So the original card from Awakenings was called Mind-Trick, and it was somewhat similar, but it was basically they created 2 groups and you removed one of those groups. You can still do that. However, now this one has the ability to just turn those dice to any side that you want. You may want to just remove them, but you may also just want to blank them out because there might be cards you can use that will allow you to do stuff with your opponent's dice. So I would probably just choose to remove them. However, the opponent will split the pool, so they may do a big group and then just have like a single die in another group, and maybe the single die is what wins them the game. So that's maybe what you remove or what you blank out, or you have the option to like remove a bunch of dice. So your opponent will split them up, and then you'll choose to either remove one of those groups or focus them to basically blank them out or put them to sides that can't be resolved or are going to be less effective. So yeah, again, spot a Jedi, and the opponent splits the dice into 2 groups. Either remove all dice in a group or turn any number of dice in the group to size of your choice. So very similar to Mind-Trick from Awakenings, but gives you the option to now blank some dice out. So that is Jedi Mind-Trick. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have the Caretaker Village. Blue Hero, support location, 2 resources, unique. So again, location. After an opponent's effect removes one of your apprentice or Jedi dice, you may exhaust this support to roll that die into your pool. So it allows you to, if your opponent removes a die using an effect, you can exhaust this and roll that die back out. Pretty interesting, and it lets you get multiple uses. Hopefully not multiple uses, but if your opponent does have somehow removed one of your dice, you can exhaust this to roll it back in. Pretty simple. So that is the Caretaker Village. It could be interesting. It's kind of like Vader's effect. So once you remove one of his dice, you can basically power action them back in. I see why they made it unique, because if they just you could have 2 Caretaker Villages out there, you'd be able to be rolling in, re-rolling or rolling back in 2 dice per round. So the Caretaker Village unique, and then allows you to roll dice back into your pool. That's all for that. So that's the Caretaker Village. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have the Hoth Trooper. It's 5 health for 5 points. It's a diceless character. It's a trooper subtype. After you activate this character, you may deal 1 damage to a ready character. So basically, you roll this out or not roll out, activate it, and then deal 1 damage to one of your opponent's characters that hasn't activated yet. So for 5 points, you get 5 health. Again, the 1-to-1 ratio there. You can run a couple of these, and basically, at least if you have 2 of them, you're going to be doing at least guaranteed 2 damage per turn, as long as your opponent isn't activating everything they have before you activate your Hoth Troopers. So this could be something you maybe open with. So you activate it, get that one guaranteed damage before they roll in and activate their characters. So we're seeing diceless characters in this set, so this is going to be pretty interesting. Again, that is the Hoth Trooper. We're going to move into our next card. Next up, we have our Situation is Desperate, 1 resource, Red Hero event. Spot any number of characters that have 3 or less remaining health to remove that many dice. I can see this card being very good late game, especially in a deck that is maybe running 3 or 4 characters. So let's say you have 4 characters, they all have like 2 health left on them. You can spend 1 resource to remove up to 4 dice. I think this is a very good red removal card, especially late in the game, and only for 1 resource as well. And even if you only have, let's say, 1 character with that, it's still 1 resource to remove a die, which is still, I think, pretty good. So I can see this one maybe seeing play. We'll have to see, but I think I can see this becoming a pretty good red removal card. So that is our Situation is Desperate. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Wicket, Crafty Scout, yellow hero, 7 points for, or 7 health for either 8 or 10 points. He's a character, he's an Ewok and a Scavenger, so that's another 2 subtypes there. 1 melee damage, 2 indirect, disrupt, shield, resource, and blank. And as you activate this character, you may play a trap card from your hand or discard pile, paying its cost. So there are new cards I think that were revealed in this stream are trap cards. They're generally going to be like Ewok-based traps. So with Wicket, it's cool because basically you activate him, you then get to play a trap card, which is essentially goes onto an opponent's character, and usually when it activates, it does something. But the cool thing with this is you can do it from your hand or your discard pile. So usually sometimes the traps get discarded. You can basically get multiple uses out of your traps with Wicket, and then also be able to do that when he activates from either your hand or your discard pile. So you got to recycle those traps. We have 2 damage sides. The sides are kind of weak, but it should probably to be expected for an Ewok. So we have that 1 melee and that 2 indirect, and then some decent utility sides with disrupt, shields, and resource. So that is Wicket. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Ensnare. This is our first trap card. So it's a downgrade trap, 1 resource, yellow hero. After the attached character is activated, you may discard this downgrade to deal damage to it equal to the number of its character and upgrade dice showing damage. So you play this on a character that has high damage sides or a lot of sides that do damage, that have damage on them. And after it's activated, you basically discard it and deal damage equal to a number of character and upgrade dice showing damage. So if they have a character that's completely loaded up, let's say like a couple upgrades, and it's an elite character, they roll it in. Let's say all of the dice roll damage. So damage on the character dice, damage on the upgrade dice. You can basically discard this. It's going to cost you 1 to play it initially, but you discard it and then deal 4 damage to that character. The downside, though, is if they roll heavy damage on that character, if the character doesn't get defeated from the trap, they're going to have a lot of damage that they could potentially resolve against you. The cool thing with this is the character is activated on their turn, so they take their action to activate their character. You discard the trap, and then on your turn, you potentially maybe play a good mitigation card to get rid of those dice. So if they roll in, you discard a trap, they take damage. You then, on your turn, play mitigation to get rid of those dice. So that is Ensnare. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Net Trap. It's another trap, so 1 resource, another downgrade. After the attached character is activated, you may discard this downgrade to remove one of its character or upgrade dice showing damage. So play this on a character. Basically, once they roll in, if one of if a die rolls damage, you can remove one of those dice, and then this gets discarded. And again, with Wicket, you're able to reuse these traps. So once Wicket activates, you can either play a trap from your hand. You still have to pay its cost, but pay a trap from your hand or your discard pile. So he'll be really good with these trap cards, and each of them do different things. So the first one we saw deals damage based on how many dice roll damage, basically. And this one lets you remove a die showing damage. So that is the net trap. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Rolling Logs. It's another downgrade trap. 0 resources. After the detached character is activated, you may discard the downgrade to reroll any number of its character and upgrade dice. And I like that it's a you may. So let's say they roll in really, really well. You discard Rolling Logs to reroll all those dice. Or if they don't roll well, you keep the downgrade on them, and then basically you pick and choose when you want to use it. So if they don't roll particularly well, you leave it on them until maybe a future round. If they roll well, you discard Rolling Logs to re-roll their dice. So that is Rolling Logs. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Glider Attack, 0 resources, Yellow Hero event. Exhaust one of your Ewok characters to deal 3 indirect damage to an opponent. That opponent may spend up to 3 resources to block that much damage. This is where the diceless Ewok cards are really going to come in handy. When they activate, normally they just deal 1 indirect damage. But what you're going to do here is you're going to play Glider Attack, exhaust one of those Ewoks to deal 3 indirect. Your opponent's going to either take that damage or spend 3 resources to block that damage. This is a really good card. I could see it going really well with Ewok decks, just because you have those Ewoks that you're exhausting them, but since they're diceless cards, they don't really do a whole lot. Again, they deal 1 indirect damage when they activate, but with this, you are, instead of getting 1 indirect damage, you are dealing 3 indirect damage. And then if your opponent decides to actually block that damage, they are going to be giving up to 3 resources. They may spend the resource to block 1, spend 2 resources to block 2, or spend 3 resources to block all 3 of that indirect. But either way, they're either going to be taking damage or giving up resources, which could put them back quite a bit. So that is Glider Attack. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Mr. Bones, 2 resources, Yellow Hero Support Droid. 1 melee, 2 melee, 3 melee for a resource, disrupt, discard. So no blanks on him. And after you resolve this die showing melee damage, if 1 or more characters were just defeated, you may ready this character. This character, I think, or this support is awesome. So we have 4 damage sides, and then potential to re-roll it if it happens to defeat a character. So we have 2 1 damage sides, a 2 damage side, and a 3 damage side. So you have 4 out of the 6 sides are damage, and we also have disrupt and discard as well. Re-roll potential as well with it if it kills something. Only cost 2. I think 2 for a die that can do quite a bit of damage and potentially roll out again is pretty good. The only thing I'm concerned about with this is cards that get rid of supports and cards that can defeat droids are going to probably, as soon as they play that, they're probably going to try to get rid of Mr. Bones. But Mr. Bones is a really cool character, and this is it's awesome that he's getting a card finally. So again, high damage potential with him, with reroll potential, and as long as your opponent doesn't have a way to mitigate supports or get rid of droids, he could basically go out there and do a ton of damage, and then get reactivations out of that as well. So that is Mr. Bones. We're going to move into our next card. Next up, we have Support the Tribe. This is a gray hero event, 2 resources. Spot any number of characters that share a subtype to heal that much damage from a character. So basically, if you build a tribal deck with, let's say, troopers or Ewoks or anything that is the exact same subtype, you can spend 2 resources. Let's say you're running a 4-wide trooper deck. Spend 2 resources, spot any number of those troopers. Let's say you all have all 4 left. You spot all 4 and then heal up to 4 damage from one of them. could be a really interesting, and also interesting with let's say the Hoth troopers or the Ewok warriors, because those will also be able to be spotted as well. So you can spot them, you can spot the characters that have dice, and then just heal a bunch of damage um, from one of those characters. So that is support the tribe. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Force Connection. One resource, blue neutral support. As an action, exhaust this support and spot two blue characters to turn one of their character dice to a side showing the same symbol as one of the other character's character dice. So this is going to be used in the Rey Kylo decks. So or that's the best situation for it probably, and that's what it's meant to be played in. You can probably play it in um, other decks as well, but you're going to basically exhaust it. Let's say you roll out Rey. Let's say she blanks out. You roll out Kylo and he rolls melee damage. You can exhaust this to basically flip Rey into damage because Kylo is showing damage, or any other symbol that the other die is showing. So if Kylo has a resource, you can flip Rey to a resource. If Rey has, let's say, melee damage, you can focus Kylo to melee damage. It could be a really good way to basically fix dice, because you are allowed basically once per round be able to exhaust this and flip one of your dice to a matching symbol from the other character dice. And then, unless you have a way to ready the support, you might be able to focus multiple dice. So that is Force Connection. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Nimin Mastery. Two resources: blue hero upgrade. It's an ability. It's also a form. So blue character only, and only one form per character. But two melee, focus, shield, resource, two specials. After you play this upgrade, turn a character or upgrade die to any side. So you play it, you can focus a die immediately. Special, turn a character die and upgrade dice to sides of your choice. So basically, the special allows you to focus two dice. So yeah, turn a character die and upgrade die to the sides of your choice. So it looks like it's not going to work with a single die because it says and. So I don't believe you can turn a character die and not turn an upgrade die. I don't think you actually have to basically focus one and then the other. From what I remember reading about how rulings on the word and are handled. But we have a damage side, a focus side, some good utility sides, and then basically those specials can turn other dice and upgrades into damage as well. So you can focus your character into damage and then focus on upgrade into damage. So that is Nimin Mastery. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have a Jedi Lightsaber. So two resources: blue hero upgrade weapon, one melee plus two melee, shield, resource, and blank. After you play this upgrade, you may give the attached character one shield or two shields instead if this upgrade is on a Jedi. So there's going to be a few cards showing up coming up that deal with shields. So this is really interesting because it has basically two shield sides, and then when it gets played, it's going to give you either one or two more shields. So we have some damage sides and some shield sides. This could obviously work very well with cards like Ataru Strike and whatnot as well. So use this to get shields, and then use Ataru Strike to deal a bunch of damage. So that is the Jedi Lightsaber. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Yoda, Mystical Mentor. 12 health, 14 or 18 points. Jedi, he's a Jedi and a leader. 1 melee, 3 melee, 2 focus, shield, 4 shields for a resource, and a resource. This character has a +3 shield limit, so this Yoda can have up to 6 shields on it. And this character shields can be used to block damage dealt to apprentice characters. So basically, Yoda comes out with characters that have the apprentice subtype, and then he can use his shields to block damage that is directed at those characters. That's pretty cool. Two damage sides, so we have a 1 and a 3, a double focus, and we have, again, a shield. 4 shields for a resource is also pretty huge. So you can get 4 shields on Yoda. You can put 4 shields on another character, especially if they have something like defensive teaching on there, which would get them an additional shield anyway, and a resource. cards like Ataru Strike and Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber are going to be kind of insane with Yoda. So if Yoda has that lightsaber and resolves a special, yes, like let's say Yoda has six shields on him, he'll get a shield. One of those will probably not, if he already has six, it won't give him a seventh. But then he'll be able to do six unblockable damage. So I can see this Yoda really doing shield shenanigans with stuff like Obi-Wan's lightsaber and Ataru Strike. And for this only being a rare, I think that's kind of crazy because it has, again, no blanks, two damage sides, two shield sides, a double focus, and 12 health. 18 points for the elite might be a little expensive because you only have 12 points, but I'm sure this Yoda will be able to dish out a ton of damage using some various like tricks with shields and whatnot. So that is the new Yoda. We're going to move into our last card. And next up, we have Yoda's lightsaber, final card for this video. So one resource, upgrade weapon, one melee plus one melee shield resource, two specials, no blanks. After you play this upgrade on Yoda, you may give him one shield. Special, deal one unblockable damage to a character or two unblockable damage instead if you remove one shield from the attached character. So Yoda has that extra threshold of having three more shields. He rolls a special, he can resolve the special and either deal a damage or remove one of the shields to deal two damage, and they're unblockable damage as well. The damage side's on, so basically it has four damage sides. So it has a 1, a +1, and then at least either a 1 damage or a 2 damage if you decide to remove a shield on that. And Yoda is going to be able to just grab shields like crazy with his, he has those multiple shield sides on his dice, and then this has shields as well. Once you play this, you also get a shield. So that is Yoda's lightsaber, and only for one resource, which is pretty crazy. So no blanks, one resource, 4 damage sides. You get a shield when you play it when you do it on Yoda. You can play it on other characters, but if you do it on Yoda, you get that extra shield, and then the ability to either do one unblockable damage or two unblockable damage, depending on what you do with the special. So that is Yoda's lightsaber. That's gonna do it for this video. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll be back again with more spoilers as they are revealed. Again, that's going to do it for now. I want to thank you for watching, and take care.